Hello everybody and welcome to another top 5 board gaming video. It's the beginning of February and you know what that means. It's a new month and so it's 5 more games that I'm probably never going to play but I am really excited about. Whether these are reprints of current edition, new editions of old prints, or brand new games altogether, there's a lot of different possibilities, and of course we are still seeing a lot of new games coming out, so I'm very excited to see more and more of them, and of course always excited to share more of the ones that I am personally excited about. But that said, please leave any and all thoughts in the comments below. You know I love to hear from you, including games that you personally are excited about. But with that, we are going to dive right in with my number 5. At number 5, I've got Onami. This is a game that is relatively old. I believe it came out in 2006 originally, but it's getting a reprint and you can pre-order it and all that great stuff. In this game, the idea is that every player has a hand of cards that have numbers on the north, south, east, and west side of them. And the point is that you have a relatively small 5x5 grid and you're trying to take over your opponent's cards effectively by embattling them with north versus south, east versus west, and all that kind of stuff. It's a relatively simple greater than versus less than type of game, but at the same time it's also a very easy to learn, very hard to master, abstract style game. It looks like it's a lot of fun. I had never heard of it until I saw that it was being reprinted and you can pre-order it, so it seems pretty cool, it seems pretty exciting, but at the same time it is an older game, it is a very simple game, and so that's why it's so low on this particular list. But either way, Onami is my number 5. At number 4, I've got 1848 Australia. This is another game that was released relatively long ago, but is coming back and getting another reprint so that new people can get it. Now, the thing is, it's pretty low on my list because I am not a huge fan of rail games. I know that it's a massive category and a ton of people love it, but the fact is, this is one that's made by GMT Games, and on top of that, it's relatively unique in that it is very specifically about a historical event that occurred in Australia with multiple competing railway companies trying to build up the most in Australia. And so you see all of the GMT very heavy strategy in there. You see the ability of having a very distinct mano-a-mano type of gameplay element going on. And so it's great in that sense, and I'm really interested to read more about it and potentially play it simply because it's a GMT game, even though it's a rail system game, because I'm not a big fan of it. But either way, with all of that put together and combined, 1848 Australia is my number 4. At number 3, I've got The Duke Reinforcements. So this is an expansion, obviously, on The Duke, which was released quite a while ago, but the expansion packs of the reinforcements were released sequentially and as recently as the 2010s. Now, the thing is that this is a very similar game to chess in that you have pieces that move very specifically, and a lot of people really love it a lot more than chess. It's a great abstract strategy game, and I really love it. Now, why is this on the list? Well, especially why is an expansion on the list? The reason being that I'm hoping with the reinforcements packages and the expansions being on pre-order and available, that this means that the original game is going to get reprinted relatively soon as well, because we have not seen the Duke on the market for quite a while, at least not on the easy to get market, and so I'm hoping that that is going to happen. But it might be the case of a lot of these living card games and stuff like that where you never ever see the core. But either way, it's still exciting. I'm still glad that you can get expansion packs for it for those of you who have the base game. The Duke Reinforcements is my number 3. At number 2, I've got Cardweaver. This is a game that's back up for pre-order after being released in 2020, so it's pretty new, but at the same time, the actual premise is what really intrigues me. This is a deck building game that acts as a 3 versus 1 or a 1 versus all, and essentially you have exactly that. I'm not familiar with the world in which this takes place, but apparently this is a canonical world that is known and does stuff and has things and all this sort of thing, but I've never heard of it, and it sounds like a fairly traditional deck building game, but the fact that you have a 1 versus all mechanic within a deck building game is not super common, and on top of that, I love the fantasy type tabletop RPG nature that this brings along with it, not to mention the fact that it was relatively recently released, and it's coming back for a reprint, so that's pretty exciting, and I'm hoping I'll get a chance to play it. It does seem like it's right up my personal alley, so that's why Cardweaver is my number 2. At number 1, I've got Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. So this is a brand new game that is coming out this year, and I have talked a lot about Batman games, but this one is relatively unique amongst a lot of games in that it is designed for solo play. Particularly in Batman games, we really haven't seen this, and on top of that, this is a very traditional conceptual Batman game where you're going against, you know, the Joker, Riddler, and Two-Face, all of those regular bad guys, but in addition, you also have the ability to go up against the Man of Steel, Superman, and I'm really interested in how mechanically that's going to work. So I'm really excited to keep my eye on it and see when it's going to be released and see some reviews and stuff as they pop up. Now obviously with Batman versus Superman and all that kind of stuff, it does say that there is a 2-player mechanic, so maybe that's where it is, but we are not going to be discussing the whole Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice because we don't talk about Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. And no, it doesn't fit in the rhyme scheme. So that said, all in all, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns is my number 1. Well everybody, that's going to be it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video on another top 5 games that I am probably never going to play, but I'm excited are getting re-released, reprinted, coming out with new editions, or are new releases. Now obviously, this particular month are a lot of reprints and all of this kind of thing, and I have a feeling a lot of it's because of shipping delays and COVID and all that sort of stuff. Maybe, I have no idea. But it's also probably because I'm looking at pre-orders and that sort of thing and just seeing what's available. Either way, a lot of these are older games, but the fact is I don't have them. Some of them I have played, but I'm really excited to see them coming back to the market because I always love seeing games that are good coming back to market and getting the love that they deserve, not to mention seeing new games, of course. Now that said, as always, please let me know anything and everything you think in the comments below, all of the games you're looking forward to, and of course, take a look at my social media pages where you can interact with myself and my channel in a whole bunch of really fun ways. But with that, thank you so much again for another month of new games. Hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.